Disclaimer: this documentary explores historical biomechanics for mobility preservation. I am a researcher of human evolution and biomechanics, not your physical therapist. Consult your physician before altering your routines. Every morning, millions of men wake up, sit on the edge of their beds, and brace themselves for that familiar deep stiffness in the lower back. You know the exact sensation I am talking about. It is a rigid, unforgiving limitation that seems to grip the very core of your architecture. For decades, the modern industrial complex has told you a very convenient, highly profitable story about this phenomenon. They have told you that this is simply the inevitable cost of time. They tell you that your spine is a wear and tear machine, destined to crumble, and that your only option is to manage the decline with softer chairs, thicker mattresses, and endless interventions. But as a researcher of evolutionary biomechanics, I look at the human body not as a fragile liability, but as the most resilient biological time machine ever engineered. To understand what is truly happening to your back, we must look past the surface and into the architectural marvel that holds you upright. Your spine is not just a stack of blocks resting passively on top of one another. It is a towering mast of stone, held in perfect, majestic balance by an intricate, microscopic suspension bridge. This bridge is built from a network of deep, interwoven muscular cables known as the multifidus. Think of this as your biological rigging. In a historically active human, these cables are thick, dense, and glowing with raw load-bearing vitality. Yet, when we examine the MRI scans of a modern man in his 60s, we do not see strong steel cables. We see something that the medical community quietly refers to as fatty infiltration. Those vibrant, load-bearing red fibers have literally dissolved, replaced by yellow, marbled tissue that possesses absolutely zero structural integrity. How does this happen to a brilliantly designed machine? The answer is not the passage of time. The answer is the very furniture you are told to rest in. Look closely at the modern recliner. It is a masterpiece of industrial deception. It is marketed as the ultimate sanctuary for your tired joint, heavily equipped with artificial lumbar support designed to coddle your torso after a long day. Every time you sink into that highly engineered, expensive ergonomic lumbar support, you believe you are protecting your spine. But in the cold, objective language of evolutionary biomechanics, this perfect support is triggering a deeply destructive biological response. It has a clinical name, and it is quietly redesigning your skeletal future. The phenomenon is based on the principle of biotensegrity. This is a scientific concept which simply means that your physical structure stays upright, not because your bones are rigid pillars, but because of the continuous, finely balanced tension of your muscles and connective tissues holding everything in perfect equilibrium. When you outsource the job of sitting upright to a $2,000 piece of synthetic foam, you are systematically removing the tension that keeps your biological suspension bridge alive. You are completely isolating the multifidus cables from the very force they need to survive: gravity. Without the constant micro-adjustments required to bounce your torso in free space, the neurological signals from your brain to these deep back muscles are completely severed. The tissue is essentially starved of its mechanical nutrition. Your body, being the ultimate ruthless efficiency expert, realizes that if the chair is doing all the work to hold your spine up, it no longer needs to spend precious metabolic energy maintaining those deep cables. So your biological system begins the slow, silent process of replacing active, life-sustaining tissue with inert, useless fat. This is not resting. This is active mechanical degeneration. The greatest generation, our grandfathers and great-grandfathers, did not suffer from this widespread collapse of the internal. They maintained ancestral joint mechanics by living in a state of continuous, natural tension. Their environments were completely devoid of the artificial, sinking comfort that defines our modern living rooms. They sat on firm, flat wooden benches, or they rested close to the earth. These simple, raw postures demanded that the multifidus remain permanently engaged, maintaining a constant, silent dialogue with the nervous system to preserve their physical independence well into their twilight years. I remember watching my own father spend entire afternoons swallowed by his recliner. When he finally tried to stand, his whole body protested. At the time, I thought it was just age. But now, through the lens of evolutionary biomechanics, I understand the truth. His chair was doing his spine's job, and his body simply obeyed the signal to let go. It wasn't age, it was architecture. The profound truth is that you do not have to surrender your structural integrity to the comfort industry. We can always build a bridge back to true resilience. The first step in reclaiming physical independence is a small but profound shift in how you interact with gravity. During your very next session of sitting, do not allow yourself to be swallowed by the recliner. Instead, choose a firm, flat chair. Sit on the front edge, allowing your feet to plant firmly on the ground, and simply lift your chest just half an inch. In this simple, dignified posture, you are instantly sending a wake-up call to those dormant multifidus cables. You will feel a subtle warmth spreading across your lower back within seconds. That is blood flowing back into tissue your brain was starting to forget. You are beginning to signal your body to rebuild. Share this with someone who still believes a softer chair is the solution. And tell me in the comments, when did you first suspect that your furniture might be working against you? I read every response. Welcome back to the architecture of your own body. In our last segment, we exposed the hidden cost of the modern recliner. We revealed how artificial lumbar support starves your deep spinal cables of mechanical nutrition, triggering a slow process of fatty infiltration that replaces vibrant muscle tissue with inert, useless fat. And we took the first small but profound step toward reclaiming your structural independence, simply by choosing a firm chair and lifting your chest half an inch. But understanding the recliner is only half the battle. To truly grasp why your lower back feels like it is locked in a cage of stiffness, we must now dive into one of the most powerful and unforgiving laws of human anatomy. In the late 19th century, a German anatomist named Julius Wolff discovered a fundamental truth about our skeletal architecture. He observed that bone and the connective tissues supporting it will adapt directly to the mechanical loads placed upon them. This is known universally as Wolff's Law. If you place a healthy demand on your spine, your body will respond by laying down denser bone and thicker, more resilient muscular cables. But Wolff's Law has a dark and unforgiving inverse. If you remove the mechanical demand, the body will ruthlessly strip away the strength, deeming it an unnecessary metabolic expense. Think of the men who built the skyscrapers of the early 20th century. These men did not possess modern health clubs or heavily padded anti-fatigue mats. Yet they navigated narrow steel beams hundreds of feet in the air, maintaining absolute spinal stability well into their later decades. Their secret was not superhuman genetics. It was the constant, unyielding application of gravity demanding their spinal cables to stay engaged. Their bodies received a clear daily signal, stay strong or fall, and their biology responded accordingly. This brings us to a critical scientific mechanism, one that sits at the very heart of mobility preservation. To keep your spine upright, your brain relies on an intricate, lightning-fast communication network. This is your body's internal GPS. Scientists call it proprioception. Proprioception is the ability of your nervous system to know exactly where every joint is positioned in space without you ever having to look at it. Close your eyes and touch your nose. That is proprioception at work. Your brain knew where your hand was the entire. When a historical human walked on an uneven dirt trail, thousands of sensory receptors in the feet and spine fired off signals, telling the brain precisely which tiny spinal cables needed to contract, which needed to relax, and how much tension was required to keep the entire structure upright and balanced. It is a brilliant, highly tuned symphony of neurological survival. But what happens when you pave over the world and wrap your feet in thick, modern foam? When you walk exclusively on perfectly flat, predictable surfaces, wearing shoes designed to absorb every ounce of impact, you are effectively blindfolding your body's internal GPS. The thick padding of modern footwear absorbs the critical microshocks that were designed to travel up your leg and signal your spinal cables to fire. You are artificially severing the communication lines of your own biological time machine. Deprived of this essential sensory input, your nervous system begins to suffer from a condition known as sensorimotor amnesia. In the simplest of terms, your brain literally forgets how to communicate with the deep muscles of your back. The software that runs your structural architecture becomes corrupted. The multifidus cables do not just become weak. They become neurologically silent, deaf to the commands of your own brain. This neurological silence is exactly what paves the way for the fatty infiltration we discussed earlier. You cannot strengthen a muscle that your brain has forgotten how to activate. It does not matter how many back exercises you attempt. If the neurological pathway is dormant, the signal never reaches the tissue. The global fitness industry focuses obsessively on the superficial mirror muscles. They tell older men to resolve their back issues by doing aggressive crunches or deadlifts. But true mobility preservation relies entirely on the invisible deep stabilizing cables that run along your vertebrae. You cannot fix a broken communication line by shouting louder at the wrong receiver. We must respect the evolutionary truth. Our joints were designed for complexity, not for convenience. Navigating flat, manicured pavement with heavily cushioned walking shoes is one of the most devastating biomechanical shifts in human history. Every time you step onto a perfectly flat treadmill, you are unknowingly participating in the erasure of your proprioceptive map. You are telling your spine that it no longer needs to anticipate, react, or stabilize. You are slowly deleting your own internal GPS. I fell into this trap myself for years. I wore the most cushioned walking shoes on the market, believing I was protecting my joints. But I was actually starving my nervous system of the very information it needed to keep my spine safe and strong. The moment I understood this, I could never look at a thick-soled shoe the same way again. However, the beauty of the human nervous system is its incredible plasticity. It is constantly waiting to be reawakened. You can rewrite the proprioceptive map and wake up dormant muscles without ever setting foot inside a crowded gymnasium. The bridge back to your natural stability is still intact. It simply needs a signal. Here is your actionable step for today, and I want you to try this tomorrow morning. Take off your shoes and socks. Find a safe, textured surface. It could be a patch of natural grass in your yard. It could be a slightly uneven, firm rug in your home. Stand tall, close your eyes, and gently balance on one foot for just 10 seconds. Then switch to the other foot. By removing your visual input and stripping away the artificial foam, you force your internal GPS to reboot. You will instantly feel something remarkable. Tiny spinal cables will begin twitching and firing as they struggle to keep you upright. You will feel micro-adjustments rippling through your ankles, your hips, and along your spine. That sensation is not weakness. That is the magnificent feeling of your nervous system coming back online. That is your brain remembering how to speak to your body again. Try this tomorrow morning, and then come back and tell me in the comments what you felt. I am genuinely curious how many of you felt those small muscles wake up for the first time in years. I read every response. Welcome back to the final phase of our structural awakening. We have mapped the collapse of the spinal suspension bridge. We have exposed the industrial deception that profits from your declining mobility. We have revealed how the modern recliner starves your deep spinal cables and how thick-soled shoes blindfold your body's internal GPS. But knowledge alone is simply academic unless it is forged into action. This is the moment where we move away from the diagnosis of the modern world and step firmly into the realm of reclaiming physical independence. I want you to understand a profound evolutionary truth. Your body is not a depreciating asset destined to rust away in a medicalized facility. It is a highly responsive, self-healing, biological machine that has been waiting for decades for the correct mechanical inputs to begin repairing itself. We have established that your spine requires constant neurological signals to stay alive. A continuous conversation between your feet, your brain, and your deep spinal cables. But neurological signals alone are not enough to maintain the structural integrity of your biological suspension bridge. There is a secondary, equally vital nutrient that your multifidus cables require to survive. And it is something the modern world has almost entirely eliminated. In the realm of evolutionary biomechanics, we call this essential nutrient axial loading. This is simply the downward, vertical force of gravity running directly through your spinal column, gently compressing the vertebrae and forcing the deep cables to brace against the weight. For hundreds of thousands of years, the daily life of a human male involved carrying loads. Whether it was water, timber, or harvested crops, all of it directly supported by the vertical axis of the spine. This constant axial loading was not a burden to be avoided. It was a profound biological requirement. It acted as a mechanical trigger, signaling the body to pump blood, oxygen, and structural proteins into the multifidus muscles, keeping them dense, resilient, and incredibly powerful. This is the physiological reality of the men who built our physical world. They did not just survive hard labor. Their structural architecture thrived on it, maintaining true postural realignment into their later years. Now, look at the landscape of the modern retiree or the older gentleman who has spent 30 years in an office environment. The vertical force of axial loading has been systematically eradicated from your daily routine. You transition from a soft, yielding mattress to a highly engineered, bucketed car seat, and then sink deeply into an ergonomic living room recliner. Your spine is rarely forced to bear its own weight in open space, let alone the weight of an external load. This creates a state of profound mechanical starvation. Without the physical demand of gravity pushing down on the spinal axis, the biological imperative to maintain dense muscle tissue simply vanishes. Nature is deeply pragmatic and ruthlessly efficient. It will not spend precious metabolic energy feeding a muscle that is never utilized to its full capacity. The multifidus cables, starved of load and starved of purpose, begin to undergo the devastating physiological shift we keep returning to: fatty infiltration. The vibrant, load-bearing red muscle fibers shrink and are quietly replaced by marbled, yellow fat cells. This fat cannot contract, it cannot support, it cannot stabilize the vertebrae. It is biologically inert. This is exactly why a simple, everyday task, like picking up a grandchild or bending over to tie a shoe, suddenly becomes a highly precarious, structurally unstable event. Your suspension cables have melted away from the inside out. And this is where the grand illusion of the modern medical and comfort industries reaches its peak. The billion-dollar comfort industry has convinced you that a rigid, painful back is just a normal part of turning 65. They sell you softer beds, thicker shoe foams, and restrictive plastic back braces to manage the decay. but they are hiding a fundamental rule of human tissue. A rule that proves this decay is entirely optional. The rule they are hiding is deeply rooted in your cellular biology. It is a process called mechanotransduction. In simple, everyday terms, this means your cells possess the miraculous ability to turn physical stress into chemical rebuilding signals. The moment you introduce a safe, controlled mechanical load back onto the spine, the surviving muscle fibers immediately detect the tension. They send a chemical distress signal that screams, "We need more structural support here." The fatty infiltration is not a permanent death sentence for your spine. The muscle is simply in a deep energy-saving hibernation. It is waiting for the right signal to rebuild. You do not need to lift heavy boulders or risk injury to reverse decades of mechanical starvation. You can begin the profound process of reclaiming your physical independence right in your own home, using nothing but the weight of your own torso and the undeniable healing force of gravity. Here is your actionable step, and I want you to try this today. Simply stand with your back against a flat, sturdy wall. Walk your feet forward just 6 inches. Press the back of your head, your shoulder blades, and your hips firmly against the wall. Now, actively try to lengthen your spine, pretending a string is gently pulling the top of your head toward the ceiling. Hold this mild tension for 20 seconds. Within moments, you will feel a deep, subtle activation spreading through your entire spinal column. A gentle warmth along the muscles flanking your vertebrae. That sensation is axial loading in action. That small, asymmetric engagement dose of ancestral mechanical nutrition. You are utilizing gravity to signal your body to waking up the dormant cables of your biological time machine. The medical industry often treats aging as a condition to be managed with synthetic braces, heavily cushioned shoes, and softer chairs. They look at your degenerating multifidus cables and see an inevitable conclusion. But evolutionary biomechanics looks at those dormant fibers and sees immense potential. Through the profound process of neuromuscular re-education, the act of teaching your brain how to talk to your muscles again, you have the absolute power to rewrite the software of your own nervous system. You are not fighting against time. You are simply fighting against a modern environment that has engineered gravity out of your daily existence. When you choose to sit on a firm surface, you are staging a quiet rebellion against the comfort industry. You are declaring that you will not outsource the stabilization of your spine to a piece of heavily marketed memory foam. Every time you choose intentional tension over artificial support, you are sending a cascade of revitalizing signals down your spinal column. The fatty infiltration begins to recede, not through punishing workouts, but through the consistent, gentle reintroduction of ancestral mechanical demands. This journey of mobility preservation is not about attempting to build the superficial muscles of a younger man. It is about restoring the deep, primal architecture that allows a man in his 60s, his 70s, and beyond to move through the world with absolute dignity and unwavering stability. It is about the quiet confidence of true structural integrity, the ability to stand up from any chair without bracing yourself, the freedom to play with your grandchildren on the floor and rise back up without assistance. The profound peace of knowing your body is still yours. Let me leave you with the 3 simple but powerful actions we have covered today. First, during your next sitting session, abandon the recliner. Choose a firm chair. Sit on the front edge, plant your feet, and lift your chest half an inch. Feel the wake-up call travel down your spine. Second, tomorrow morning, take off your shoes and socks. Stand on a textured surface, close your eyes, and balance on one foot for 10 seconds. Feel your internal GPS reboot itself in real time. Third, stand against a wall, walk your feet forward 6 inches, and press your head, shoulders, and hips firmly against the surface. Hold for 20 seconds and feel the healing compression of axial loading nourish your deep spinal cables. A small but profound shift in your daily routine will signal your body to You are not just exercising. You are actively reclaiming your biological time machine from an industry that wants you comfortably immobilized. Today, we have laid the groundwork to rebuild the suspension cables of your spine, taking back your structural independence from the comfort industry. But a perfect architectural structure is absolutely useless if the engine inside it is starved of fuel. What if I told you that the evolutionary mistake was not just in how you sit or how you walk, but in the very air you breathe? For over 40 years, modern industrial stress has stealthily locked your breathing into a shallow, upper chest panic state, effectively paralyzing the most powerful muscle in your body. This invisible habit is eroding your internal mobility from the inside out, subtly fusing your ribcage and crushing your vitality without you even realizing it. Tomorrow, we will uncover the diaphragmatic armor. We will explore exactly how the modern world has taught you to breathe like a prey animal. And more importantly, how to reverse decades of shallow breathing to unlock the primal respiratory mechanics of a hunter-gatherer. We will systematically dismantle the physiological trap of chest breathing and show you how to expand your internal architecture with every single breath. The preservation of your machine is a continuous journey, and we have only just secured the foundation. Until we meet again, remember that true comfort is not found in a sinking chair, but in a body that can stand resilient against the forces of nature. Preserve your mechanics, question your environment, and reclaim your machine.